What's up, G-Pac TV? What's going on? This is Daryl G coming to you with another video. Here we go. So, I did a video before about why progressives should not normalize a guy like this guy here, Tucker Carlson. You're gonna hear this guy say some things, and you have to ask yourself, any of the women who passed basic training, did all the hard work they had to do, fought in these wars, in combat, do you think that this guy would have been able to do any of that? Somebody tell me if you think that he would even have been able to pass the basic training. But he has the nerve. So I specifically mentioned Jimmy Dore because Jimmy Dore goes on his show. So I was just asking a question. Should people like Jimmy Dore claims he's a progressive? I believe he is. And I believe he's on the right side of all of these issues, at least most of them. But should he be making a guy like Tucker Carlson normal? You know, a guy that you should accept in your daily life. Listen to him. I mean, if you're not a coward, would you hang out with somebody like him? Really? Listen how he talks about women who put up the ultimate price. This is a Swanson error once again. He has never worked a real hard day or had a job or had to know how to, take care of your finances so you can take care of your family and make sure they eat and the bills are paid. He's been a silver spoon, little snot piece of crap his whole life. All of his life. He has the nerve to speak of women who has passed tests that I will bet all my money that I have in the bank right now, this slimy piece of crap, jelly face looking fuck couldn't have passed. Okay, listen.
Suggest the Pentagon may be lowering the standards for troops and thus affecting our ability to successfully win wars for political reasons. They don't like it, but that doesn't change the fact that that's exactly what they're doing. In December, the Defense Department signed off on 15 recommendations from its so-called Inclusion Board. Those recommendations are slated to be completed by the end of this month, March. According to the Pentagon, quote, Acting Defense Secretary Chris Miller signed a memo entitled Actions to Improve Racial and Ethnic Diversity and Inclusion in the U.S. Military.
I guess that's a problem for
Tucker. Of the
Tucker.
military following the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, end quote. One of those recommendations was to, quote, remove aptitude test barriers that adversely impact diversity. Separately, the Pentagon is now reportedly considering lowering fitness standards for female recruits. The military had adopted a gender-neutral test
Went
that
from
scored men and
racial
women on the same
to now
basis.
he's going to
the idea being they would
the
have to
women's
fight
side of the
same
game.
wars. Turns out, though, that far more than half of the women who took the test failed it, so they apparently are ditching that. The question is whether or not this helps diversity. Will it help us win wars and defend the country? Douglas McGregor is in a good position.
So he just said it's diversity, and he mentioned George Floyd, so he's clearly talking about race, women, So he's clearly talking about women. Are any of these people are going to help us win wars? A war that I, myself, would never be involved in. I would never send my kids. They're all little silver spoon all the way to the core. They're never going to fight any of these wars. But I guarantee one thing that Tucker will do. He will promote wars on his show. He will promote and run cover for the people. So let's be clear. Let's not be fooled by his fake populism. He runs cover for the people that send your kids over there to fight and die. Him and his family, none of them are going to fight any wars. None of them are going to have to pass the test and man up or woman up to the stuff that you have to do to become a soldier or airman or a salesman or army ranger, special operations, the elite, however you want to call it. I've never been in the military, so I don't know. But my family, all of them are in the military. So this guy or his family would never put nothing on his skin, nothing on the line, none of their skin on the line for this country. But he would have the nerve to come out there and talk this nonsense about people who do. I guess if they're minorities or if they're women. So if you are progressive, normalizing this piece of crap, I have the right to ask you why, and you should answer why. So, I guess if you're saying that the only way I can reach the other side is through vessels like this, I can sit down and listen and hear what you have to say. But I need to hear what you have to say because I'm asking the question as you see this scumbag that should never be normalized. And every progressive, everybody on the left knows that. So, listen.
Answer that question. He's a retired Army colonel. We're happy to have him on tonight. Doug McGregor, thanks so much for coming on. So, the military is doing these things and has been doing them for a long time in order to achieve political goals. Most of us don't see the military as a political organization, but as our last line of defense against hostile foreign powers. Do these changes make it more or less likely the Pentagon will be able to defend the country?
Well, Tucker, I think the last...
Let's stop there. You heard he said about the military being a political tool. Do you remember Donald Trump and Michael Flynn? They were in the White House, in the Oval Office, talking for an hour on whether they should call for martial law so Donald Trump can stay in the power. And he covered for all of that. What a piece of crap. You think that we don't know? We know. And I am here to anybody who would see this to tell you, if you don't know, look it up. Him and Donald Trump sat in the Oval Office and they thought about using martial law, which will involve the military as a political tool. What a scumbag. Come on.
20
Keep
years
going, sir.
have had a profoundly negative impact on the American military, particularly on the combat forces. that have had to go through these long occupations, long deployments, without clear missions and attainable objectives. And as a result of this, we've also fought a very weak enemy, an enemy without air forces, without air defenses, without armies, and people reach